How are you, sir? Fresh off a flight from St. Louis.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm happy that this has finally happened. It's been, maybe 2 years we've been trying to make this happen?
Yeah, probably 2 years, yeah.
Hockey, it makes you busy.
Yeah,
You're everywhere.
for sure, yeah.
Have you pictured your life like this? I know, every kid grows up wanting to be, a pro hockey player, playing junior hockey, traveling around the world. Everyone pictures it, but are you more of a day-to-day guy and just kind of work on the process every day? You don't like to look too far down the road, or did you draw it up like this and wanted it to happen?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I kind of knew I'd be moving away. Yeah, like I always knew, like I'd tell my buddies, I'll be gone when I'm 16, playing in the major junior or whatever. But yeah, now I'm more of a day-to-day guy. Like I don't like to think too much in the future, but yeah, probably yeah.
That's the one thing I like to hear about pro players is they always talk about the day-to-day little habits and the routines that they go through in order to make tomorrow, I guess you could say, more successful. Going through, like you just got back from St. Louis camp, what are things like you take from those camps and being around these pro coaches, pro players, whatever it may be? Like what are little like tidbits you take away?
Yeah, a ton of stuff. Like just how to be a pro, what you eat, how you sleep, how you work out, warm up. It's just all that little stuff. It takes so much, the talent level gets less and less at every league. Like everybody stays a little even. So yeah, you just gotta make sure you're doing all the stuff that it takes to be a pro and hope it works out. So yeah.
We jumped way too ahead. We already jumped to a pro. Let's go all the way back. Let's start back to the beginning. Right before the podcast started, we were talking about growing up in New Glasgow, Pictou, and you talk about just essentially the community and how proud you are to be from there and how great the people are, and coming home from London. You said, what were you at yesterday? The Lobster Fest?
The Lobster Carnival.
The Lobster Carnival. And you're just saying how happy you were to be home and just to be around the people again. Talk about, I guess, your upbringing in that community.
Yeah, I moved back home when I was in first year Adam. My dad was playing, so I was moving around with him when I was just a little kid. Then moved back to Pictou County, and it just felt like home instantly. It's where my parents grew up. All my buddies are from there. I'm so proud to be from there. Not a lot of kids are from a small little town in Nova Scotia like that, so it's pretty cool. You're running into people that you've seen, went to school with, and I just think that's the coolest thing ever. Like, kind of, they're all like, "Oh man, I'm so proud of you." Like that was awesome in the Memorial Cup. I love watching you. Like somebody said that I didn't even know yesterday. They're like, I watched the whole CHL. I bought the CHL package so I could watch your whole season. I was like, man, like that's awesome, man. Thank you so much. And he's like, no, man. Like, yeah, it's pretty cool.
I always say that it's the people around here that make it the best place in the world. It's the people.
Yeah.
There's so many people care about people that have talent and go off to other parts of the world, and they always watch and they care. It's the best.
Yeah, for sure. You feel pretty loved. It's pretty wholesome in Nova Scotia and Pictou County. I love it, yeah.
Playing against Pictou, don't get me wrong, there was some skill there, but I will say this. In Pictou, it was never an easy game. No. Even if it was a 7-1 game, it was hell until the final buzzer went. That mentality of Pictou, where do you think that comes from?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a little hard-nosed town. Like, yeah, you're right. Like if you're beating us like 7-1, we're going down swinging. Like
yeah.
we're gonna get greasy by the end. And I'm still kind of like that. We'll be winning 6-1 in a regular season game. I'm like, all right, boys, here we go. Let's go have some fun out there. And yeah, so it's fun. I love like the boys are all joking around in London and stuff, like calling it Pictou because it sounds funny. They're like, oh, Pictou. I'm like, boys, you guys don't have a clue what it's like. You guys wouldn't last. It's so funny, but yeah.
I remember we went up to mic up your dad during a hitting camp, and we've all been in a hitting camp. Everyone here, and even these guys.
Yeah.
And a hitting camp, it's a hitting camp. You take a hit, you learn, and then you keep moving on. But when we mic'd up your dad for this hitting camp, he was brutally honest with all the kids. And I was like, Simmer, like this isn't how they're doing it, like in the city. Like this, you're really like you're putting you're really showing them what it's like to take a hit. And he goes, oh yeah, this is how we do it down in Pictou.
Yeah.
We're showing them. I'm like. The first thing he said, he goes, yeah, boys, you're going to be sore tomorrow, so just be prepared for that.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, the kids were just like, oh, man, they're a little nervous. We're going to be sore tomorrow. But it was one of the best hour skates I've ever seen at that age group. I don't know what it is, right before Pee Wee maybe. And it was just cool to see. It was just a different mentality and a hard-nosed way of teaching a kid how to take a hit. And you can tell it just transfers over from year to year to year and creates guys like you who are tough as hell.
Yeah, it's good. Like, my dad coached me my whole life, and he's really intense. Like, you got to be able to handle it. But it helps so much. Like it just makes you more competitive and like want it so much more if you buy into what he's saying and listen. And I actually remember that camp. My shoulders were so sore after when I was in that camp. But yeah, it's good. I think that's the way you need to be, and that's the way I like to be coached. Like I like to be like yelled at if I'm not going. Like it gets me going. Like if someone yells at me, I'm like, all right, here we go. Like, nowadays you don't see that often, but I'm so grateful that I got not when I was a kid I hated it, but now I'm so grateful that I had that person to be hard on me. So yeah,
That's like most people. Like getting tough love at the beginning is tough, but now that you're an adult and you know what tough love feels like and it benefits you, I think most people like it.
yeah, for sure.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So I'll say this, leaving and going to Ontario to play. Actually, I don't want to jump that too far ahead. Making the decision, I guess, to leave here. What was that like for you to go to Ontario?
Yeah.
How did you play that out?
Yeah, so we found out about this rule that I could go to the OHL during the Mem Cup when it was in Halifax.
Yeah.
A scout for the Chicago Blackhawks, he told my dad and me, he was like, yeah, Landon could play in the OHL. And we were like, what? I can? And then, yeah, so I kind of kept that in the back of my head. My dad was fired up. Like, he loved his time in the OHL. He was like, this is perfect. And I knew nothing about the OHL, really. Like, I was a big Moosehead fan. Like, I went to a bunch of games. Like, I loved the Mooseheads. Like, I really wanted to play in the Quebec League because, the scouts were always at our games in midget, and they were talking to us. And I was in that Q Prospects game, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to the Quebec League. And my dad, like, he's like, you got to go to the OHL. It's the best league ever. Like, we know the Hunters in London. Like, look up the London Knights, and because I kind of had a connection there. So I looked them up. I, like, followed them on Instagram. I'm like, holy, this is crazy. Like, what if I could get drafted here? And so, yeah, I chose to go to the OHL. We told, like, nobody. Like, nobody knew. And then, so, yeah, like, London knew, and then a couple other teams knew about it and, like, talked to me. But I was trying to, like, just go to London, like, that's how people do that.
Yeah.
So the night before the draft, somebody put out a tweet like, oh, it'll be interesting to see where Landon Sim goes in the OHL draft tomorrow. And this was like late. This was like 9 o'clock. And I start getting calls from like every team. Like, I'm looking at my phone, like, how it says the location on your phone, like every team. And I'm like, what do I do here, Dad? He's like, what's it saying? And it's like so-and-so. He's like, no, don't answer. And then I wake up the next morning, and it's like London picking 46. Like, that's at the start of the draft. And my dad's like, yeah, you're going here. I'm like, all right. And then London picks me, and I just, like, I knew it was going to happen. And then, yeah, I get a call from Mark Hunter, and he's like, yeah, we picked you. You got to start working out harder. Like, right away, like, the Hunters are so tough on their players, but, like, they're the best. And he's like, yep, you got to start working out harder. Like, you got to be ready. And I'm like, all right, I'll be ready. I'll do whatever it takes. And, yeah, so it's pretty cool. So, yeah.
That's unreal. Yeah. You're just not taking phone calls if it's an area code that's not London. That's amazing. What was that summer like going there before? Were you just working out like crazy in Pictou?
Yeah, man. Like, that was COVID, right? So everything was shut down. So my mom, she works at the YMCA in Pictou County. So we took a ton of equipment back and put it in our basement. And my dad would wake me up every morning and just like it was so hard, like the workouts he put me through, but it was so good. Like, I was so small. Like, I was only like 126 pounds, I think it was, like 140 pounds, 126 pounds or something when I got drafted to the OHL. And I put on like 30 pounds of muscle that season. I was like 5'6". I grew like to 5'9" probably. And like, it was COVID, right? So no one seen me. And then after COVID, like, when everything was back up, like, I was like a different person. Like, I was bigger, I was taller, and everybody thought I was like taking these like growing pills to make me like bigger. And then, yeah, so yeah, it was good though. I worked my butt off, and then I couldn't play that year in London because the season was canceled. So I played Junior A with the Crushers, my hometown team, and yeah, that was really good. Like, so it was like the only Junior A league going because of COVID. So like every 20-year-old, like a top 20-year-old, like the OJHL out in BC would come to the MJHL.
MHL, yeah.
Yeah, because like it was the only league going. So it was like a super league. Like, there's like 820s on each team. Like, it was a lot for me at the start because I was just like a young kid starting. Like, I only had like 2 points in my first 20 games.
Oh.
And like it was really hard. And then I just kind of like flipped the switch as like the middle of the year came, and I had a really good end of the year. Like I was well over point per game in the end of the year. I was fighting, I was hitting, and I just kind of like grown up a little bit more, and that was huge for me, that kind of season. So
well, what do you think it was? Just like Christmas turkey or something? Like how did you like?
I just thought like I just had to like adjust. Like every guy on that team like was like a Pictou County kid or like an older 20-year-old, and they played hard. And I was like, you know what, like just screw it. I'm just gonna put my body on the line and start like becoming more of like a man, I guess, on the ice. And that's what I did, and it worked out for me. And then going to the OHL, like after playing against those older guys and kind of being like a top guy in my junior A team as a 16-year-old in the second half, like it helps so much. So yeah,
100%. It toughens you up too. It's like, oh, this is what it's like to play against this caliber of hockey.
Yeah,
and then you're good to go.
For sure.
Because OHL is probably, well, not probably, definitely way more skilled. But if you can handle the rough side of things and not like be worried about it, the skill can come through.
Yeah, like it was way more skilled than the MHL, but like it wasn't as tough or as big, and the guys were a lot smaller. So like I was used to that. Like so I could play like hard. Like I played really hard my first year in the OHL, and it was like almost too much at times, and everyone was like, "Why are you like this?" And I'm like, "Oh, I played in the MHL. Like, you guys wouldn't know."
Played in Pictou.
Yeah.
You got to come down to the Lobster Fest.
Yeah.
Pictou.
Yeah.
That's great. I heard in Pee Wee you had in Atlantics, you scored with 2 seconds left to win for the first time ever.
Yeah, we hosted provincials that year in the Trenton Arena. I don't know if you know where that is.
Well aware. We streamed there. We found Ethernet cords.
Yeah, it's in Pictou County. So yeah, we went to the finals against the Tassa Ducks, and they were loaded that year. Like they had a ton of guys, and yeah, we beat them. I scored with like 1 second left to win. I did this stupid celly down the ice, but like the rink was packed, and it was sick. Like it was the coolest thing ever. Yeah, it was the first time Pictou County ever won Pee Wee AAA provincials. So
no way,
that was cool.
Any teammates that you can remember on that team that you're still buddies with now?
Yeah, man, like Lucas Cannon, Kiefer Avery. There's so many guys. Like the whole team, I'm still buddies with probably. Like
oh yeah,
yeah. Like yeah, I'll see them around and be like, oh, we'll talk about that year. It was so fun. So yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Winning provincials and Pee Wee, we did it too. It's the best feeling. I still have the hat from it.
Yeah,
it's
man.
The best. For some reason, winning those minor league things mean more. Oh, obviously, winning the OHL Cup is a big deal, but like you just remember those things with your buddies.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's nothing better. Like that's how bonds are made. Like winning with your buddies, and we can always go back and like talk about that year. It's so cool. Like every now and then, we had like the group chat on like Instagram because no one had Snapchat or like iMessage back then. So like someone will like fire something like to this day in the group chat, like, hey, remember we won? And it's like, what? It's so funny. Yeah, like a Pee Wee AAA.
100%.
Yeah.
Moving on from that and going actually to the U18 league right after, which we actually just partnered with. We're pumped. Little plug for ourselves. Coming from that U18 back when you played Major Midget League, what are some memories you had of that league, and how did it develop you to move on into junior?
Yeah, it's a great league actually. Like, you know, you're playing against kids 2 years older than you. You come in as like a 15-year-old, and you're playing against kids who are 17, 18, and you know it's the best place to play before you make that jump to junior. I find like we had a good team too. We were up 3-1 on South Shore before the league got canceled that year in the semifinals. So yeah, man, that year was great. The Weeks organization, you know, we got a great dressing room. You know, Kyle, like great coach. Like he cares so much. He puts so much effort into it and stuff. So yeah, it was a great year. Like I had so much fun still with all my buddies there. Like. It was great.
Great facility as well.
Yeah.
Like we love going to that rink. Like even the staff. Like every time we set up for a stream or something, the staff is always friendly. What do you guys need? What can we help? Just great people.
Yeah, it's great. You know, we got a bunch of fans in like the playoffs there, and it was so fun. So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Your buddies up in London, do they ever like want to come here?
Yeah, they actually do. Like when I first moved there, they were like, Nova Scotia, like you live in a tent or like no man. Yeah, they actually do want to come. Like I'll fire them like a picture of like the beach every now and then, and be like, you boys got to get here. Like it's the best. And they're like, yeah, whatever. But I think they're gonna come probably next summer. You know, we had a long year this year, but a bunch of them will come next summer, I think, and we'll have a time. So yeah.
That's all. When you're up at the Mem Cup, did you talk to Luke Woodworth at all? Are you guys buddies?
Yeah, you know, we played together in these Hockey Nova Scotia stuff, and we we battled hard against each other when we were kids. So like playing against them in the Mem Cup was pretty cool. Like 2 kids from little towns in Nova Scotia. Like we were on the ice, and there was that no fighting rule in the Quebec League. So I kind of looked at him on the bench. I'm like, "You want to go?" And he just laughed. But yeah, that was cool. It was pretty cool to see a fellow Nova Scotia kid in the tournament. So yeah.
Yeah, it was great. Every time. Well, when we were up at the Meltdown, it's the best time of year because 1, playoffs are happening, and 2, playoffs for junior and the Memorial Cup are happening. So it's great to like come home after a long day, sit down, and like watch everyone play.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see you and Luke make it all the way to the Mem Cup.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick stuff.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
It's good for Hockey Nova Scotia too.
Yeah. 100%.
Going back to this camp, I remember you were talking about coming into it, and you were not nervous, but you said, you're the only kid from Pictou here, and you felt like you had to make a name for yourself, even though your last name's Sim already. But coming into this, how did you feel, coming in to make a little bit of an impact?
Yeah, when I was at these camps, I was just so nervous. Like I wanted to make it so bad. We'd be in the meal hall, and I wouldn't be touching the ice cream or anything. I'd be like permanently dialed in. I remember when the list came out to see if I made the team, I was just like full shaking. Like I was just so nervous, and then I made the U14 and 15 team. So yeah, it was so fun. Then the tournament in Moncton. There, it's like you're playing junior, like you're getting on the bus before the game, and you're with all the guys, and it's pretty sick. So yeah, I love these camps. It's pretty cool. Like I know Ontario doesn't do a thing with like Hockey Ontario where you're staying in a dorm with all the top guys from the province. Like it's pretty cool that Hockey Nova Scotia does this. It's unreal.
When you were in the dorms here, were you sweating?
Yeah. I remember I'd have like the fan like right in front of me. It was so hot, but it's a hell of a time.
I remember we came last year. This is our last year was our first year here, and we get here like on the second day or whatever, and we see a bunch of moms pulling up with like fans from Walmart, and they're like, there's one mom with a fan, another mom with a fan. They're all walking to the dorms to give the fans to their kids because they're all in there. They're all sweating their bag off.
I know, yeah. I actually still have the fan in my room that I bought because it was so hot in the dorms.
Like, you still have it?
Yeah. I'm thinking about that, yeah.
Last year, they were all complaining. They're all just sweating. They come to meal hall. They're all got the sweat stains on their t-shirts.
Yeah.
No, but it's fun times up here. And it's great because it kind of does groom you for junior hockey. Like it's a pregame skate, and after they're going to the meal hall, and then after they play a game. It's just kind of like junior hockey. So it's good to kind of like, I don't know, groom them.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. It's unreal that they do this. Yeah.
So sick. So when you talk about the London Knights, or not when other people talk about the London Knights, other teams come up like the top teams in the CHL, like the Mooseheads, London obviously, a couple other teams out there. In terms of those organizations making you guys feel special, London, no one really knows too much about. The Mooseheads, because we're close to Halifax. But in terms of the London Knights, what is the secret sauce that makes that organization so special? Yeah,
like it just the Hunters, like they're unreal. Like the amount of work that Mark and Dale do is insane. Like Dale got like a surgery this year on his knee, so he couldn't coach one game. And then, like, the next day, he's at the rink watching video at, like, 6 a.m. Like, he's just a hockey expert. Like, he knows everything. He's coached so many players that have gone on to play in the NHL and play pro hockey, and they just know what it takes. I just listen to those guys every single day. It's pretty cool. And then London playing there, it's 10,000 fans a game. You're put on such a high pedestal. Like, it's crazy. But it's like my first couple games there, I'd be so nervous because you look up and the place is packed, and it's just like it's October and the place is just full, fans, jerseys everywhere. It's like playing in the NHL. Like it's crazy, but yeah, I wouldn't give that up for the world.
What's the name of the arena?
The Budweiser Gardens.
10,000 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every single night.
Really?
Yeah.
Is the alumni group strong there? Like I know obviously probably the highest drafted players out of junior, I'm assuming probably coming from London. Maybe not, but it sounds like it. Is the alumni group there good? Like, do people come back? I know Brandon Prust is there at, like, every game.
Yeah, he actually comes on the ice with us sometimes. That's kind of how I started to learn how to fight a little bit.
Oh, yeah?
Prusty, yeah, he's unreal, There's so many people. Like, they made videos for us before the Mem Cup final, and it's like – Matthew Kachuk, Marner, Dvorak, like all these like studs. I'm just like, holy shit, that's crazy. But yeah, the alumni group's unreal. Like, it's pretty cool. So yeah.
What's some of the traits of the Hunters that make them such great coaches? I know they're the owner and GM too, aren't they?
Yeah.
But attaboy dudes. In terms of like the coaching style, like there's so many different coaching styles. You got the aggressive guy. You got so you got a dick coach every now and then. You got the guy who's quiet but needs to speak up when it's time to speak up.
Yeah.
What style?
Yeah,
do they bring?
Dale as a coach, he's so calm. Like before the Mem Cup final, he just, all right, boys, stick to our systems. We'll be good. Let's be ready to play. Like that's all he says, and it's just like everyone just listens to him because he's such a legend, and like it's unreal. Like every day is the same. He comes in for video. Okay, boys, we know these guys. It's like say we're playing a team that we know. We know these guys here. We do video. It's just so like routine, and it's unreal. Like Dale, he knows how to adjust so well too. Like if it's a team and they're doing something different, Dale will spot it right away and we'll adjust. Like it's all systems. He's a very X's and O's coach, and if we stick to the system like we did this year and we're consistent, like we're such a hard team to beat in London. We had like
it only had 14 losses this year, didn't you?
Yeah, like a 17-game winning streak. It was crazy. Like
was this? Sorry, keep going.
Then Cowan had that crazy streak. It's just like. We just, if we're consistent in London, we won't lose because we just play our system, and it's so hard to beat. Like, because like other teams can't even break into our own zone. It's nuts.
Was it arguably one of the funnest years of hockey you've ever had?
Yeah, it probably was. It's just like going into every game, like knowing, like we're gonna win. It's nuts. It's just so fun. Like every guy we had so many guys that would like score, and like we weren't like just like super top heavy. Like we had like 4 lines that could play. Like we had some like legit tough guys, so like no one would mess with us. It was just so fun. Like yeah, it was unreal.
Does Dale make sure that you know your role? Sometimes I've played on teams and I go in and I don't know my role. I always loved that about a coach. Whenever they told me, okay, Justin, this is your role for the season, do it, you'll be successful.
Yeah, in London, like there's like I came up midget and stuff and like high picked to the OHL, like being like a top guy, but when I got to London I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna outskill these guys because of how good they are. So like I kind of became like a role player. Like I'd hit, I'd fight, like I'd shut down the other team's top opponents, and that's what makes me like the best player I can be. Like that's when I'm at my best. So that's kind of the role that Dale put me into, and because he just knows like if this player wants to play, he has to play this sort of game. So Dale put him in that situation. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's part of the reason why we're so good. Like we had 3 lines that could have been any other team's first line, and like yeah, like my line was as a third line with Caleb Lawrence, who's signed to LA, and then Casper Haltonen. You've probably seen him in the World Juniors. Like he had like goal per game in the playoffs in the Mem Cup. That's our third line, and we hit. We would play hard, play below the other team's dots, and we just had to accept that role, and we're gonna win. So yeah.
Awesome. Does it ever get to a point where it's a problem, where you reach a peak of hockey and you have, St. Louis maybe telling you what to do? Now you got London telling you what to do. You got your dad telling you what to do. Has that ever been like an issue where you have too many people at the top telling you what kind of player to be, what to do, what not to do?
Not really. Like when I first got drafted to the NHL and then I came back to London that year, it was pretty tough because like you come from NHL camp, and I had a really good camp. Like I played 2 NHL preseason games, so like I thought I was a player. I wasn't. Like I thought I was going to go out and score 50 goals in the OHL, and I kind of got humbled pretty quick. I was like, yeah, I'm not that guy. So then I started playing back to my game, and I was successful. And then I had that injury after that. So yeah, my year after I got drafted in the NHL was pretty tough. But yeah, I wouldn't say like, yeah, it is hard when there's a lot of people like at the top, like London's telling you this, St. Louis telling you that, my dad's telling me this, but you just kind of like figure it out and grow up a little bit, and then I was fine. So yeah.
Well, let's go back to the draft. Was that another one of the most memorable days of your life?
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Like I was so nervous because I didn't want to go and not get picked, but I was feeling pretty good. Like I had some teams that were saying like I'd get drafted, so I went, and then the NHL draft's crazy. Like
how so?
You just get there, and like you look around, and you're like, holy, like there's so many Europeans.
You don't even know who they are.
Yeah, so you're looking in the thing. It's like the 3rd round, and it's all Europeans, and you're like, uh-oh. And then once I got to round 5, I was like shaking, like I was full sweat, like it was crazy. And then, yeah, like St. Louis had a draft pick in the 6th round, so I thought that could have been a spot. Then like Philly had a couple picks in the 7th round. Arizona had a couple picks. So like I was getting nervous because like there was only like couple chances I could have had here because there was a bunch of teams that I didn't really talk to that much. But yeah, when St. Louis was picking, I was kind of sitting like right above them, so they all kind of looked up at me, and I fully blacked out. Like I just remember like I kind of like had a tear in my eye walking down to like shake all the people's hands.
Of course.
Yeah, so that was pretty crazy, And then I see my buddy who got drafted to the Boston in the 7th round. We gave each other like the biggest hug ever, Jackson Edward. It was pretty crazy, but yeah. Then I got drafted there and went to camp, and it's so cool. Like I was just at camp. You feel like you're playing in the NHL. Like the food is so good, and the meal and like the kitchen. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah.
Did your old man shed a tear?
Yeah,
I know.
He was, my mom and dad were pretty happy, and I was sitting with my staff members with Landon there too, like Mark and Dale and those guys. So it was pretty cool that they were there too to shake their hands after I got picked. So,
having 2 younger brothers too, they look up to you. That's a cool feeling as well. Being the guy getting drafted to the NHL first, out of your other 2 brothers could, who knows?
Yeah.
But that must be a really cool feeling as well.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that they. I'm pretty proud of those 2 guys. It's probably pretty hard having an older brother who plays in the OHL than having a dad who played. Like, they probably think that they need to play too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, playing against Lane this year was awesome. There's funny stories. So he got drafted to Sarnia when I was playing against them my 18-year-old year in the playoffs. And I'm the player that not a lot of people like playing against. Like, that Sarnia hates me. Like because like we had some battles with them.
Yeah.
And Lane gets drafted there, and I'm like, oh God, like what's gonna happen? And I got guys telling me, like, we're chirping, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna bully your little brother next year. I'm like, what? So at the start, I'm texting them every day. I'm like, they're being good to you, right? Like, they're not picking on you at all. Like, he's like, no man, I love them all.
They're in your kitchen. They're just in your kitchen.
I'm like, okay. And then like this year, like we had some. I like fought one of their guys like center ice. And Lane was sitting there on the bench, and I couldn't imagine what he was thinking. He's probably like, "What? Like, what? Who do I hope for here?" Like,
mind games.
And then he's texting me after. He's like, "Man, you gotta chill. Like, you can't be chirping my buddies and stuff." I'm like, "Sorry, man. Like, I can't help it."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, this kind of why weren't you smiling in the photo with your brother and your dad on the ice? You were mean mugging the camera guy.
Yeah.
You should have smiled.
That was actually my first game of the year, and like. I was just like
from your injury.
Yeah, I thought I was like I had this like greasy like goatee or whatever. I was just trying to be tough. I don't know. I was trying to be tough.
That explains a lot.
Yeah,
you just didn't want Sarnia to see your soft side.
Yeah, exactly. Probably that. Yeah.
Your dad. That was such a good photo.
Yeah, that's
How
cool.
did it happen? Did you wave your brother over and your dad was just like waiting on the bench?
Yeah, my dad really wanted to get in because he's always in the mix. He thought it was. Yeah, it was pretty cool that he was there, and then Lane, too, got the picture. So, yeah, it was a pretty cool pic.
That's a great photo.
Yeah.
And it just happened to work out, like your first game back from injury.
Yeah,
just happened to work out.
So I got my surgery in St. Louis, so I went there, like, the day before the game, and I got cleared, and I was like, can I play tomorrow?
Just move this up a bit.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
All good.
I asked the doctor, I was like, can I play tomorrow? And he's like, yep. All good. And I said, all right, I'm playing tomorrow. So I came in. I was like, I got home like at like 2 a.m., 2:30. I was so tired, and I like it was such a build up because it was my first game in so long.
At home
against my brother. My dad was there, and I didn't think I played really good. So I was just so mad. And then I played. Then I played good the next game. I was fine. But
First game back.
Yeah, exactly.
That's sick.
I expect pretty high of myself. So yeah.
You got to think, man. Out of all the kids that play hockey all over the world, so far you've had a pretty good run. You won the Pee Wee provincials. You got drafted. Out of all of it, it's working out pretty good. Do you consider yourself lucky, or do you consider yourself just, hard work pays off kind of thing?
Yeah, I've worked really hard. I've had a ton of injuries too that I've had to overcome. Being from a small town, you're not really expected to go anywhere. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of myself so far, but there's a lot more work that needs to be done. I want to play in the NHL. I want to play pro hockey for my whole life. So, yeah, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. But up to this point, I'm pretty happy with myself. I'm
100%.
gonna continue to work harder and harder. So, yeah.
I've always wondered from, like, the sim family aspect. Like, when you guys have a family party, like, you guys, when you think sim, you think hockey. But when you guys all get together as a family, is it hockey or is it how's your life other than hockey?
Yeah. Everything goes back to hockey.
Does it?
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll be talking, hockey. But, yeah, so Christmas time we'll always get together, like my whole family, all my cousins and stuff. And then, of course, we need to go on the ice the next day, all the cousins.
Okay, so it's just
play some pickup hockey because that's just how it is. But, yeah, it's all hockey.
Yeah, well, if you love it, then it's all hockey. It's all good.
Yeah, like we'll be, like, walking by my brother at home, and we'll be, like, firing chirps that we say in hockey, and
run them into the drywall.
Yeah, we'll be like grabbing each other like on my shoulder, like we're gonna go.
Prusty taught me this.
Yeah.
Do this.
Yeah.
That's good.
My mom's probably like, what's wrong with these kids? Yeah.
Man, talk to me. Your parents must put some miles on their vehicles getting you guys around. Like,
yeah.
I see your dad. I want your dad to work for us because you can give him a camera. You can he's in every rink we're in.
Yeah.
Like, he's just you guys. You guys are everywhere. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Like,
and then Mike too.
Yeah.
Your uncle. He's here too.
Everybody.
Yeah,
my parents have done everything. Like for my dad and my mom to move back home after kind of my dad had a long career and then start right back with us. We're pretty thankful for that, you know. That's pretty cool. Like my dad was playing in the NHL, my mom was living the NHL life, and then come back to Pictou County and just start driving to these barns with us. It's pretty grateful that we got that. So yeah, they've done everything, you know. I'm really grateful for them for sure.
What's an early memory of your dad playing pro hockey? If maybe you were in the dressing room, maybe you remember him doing this, maybe doing that. Well, what's like an early memory you'd have?
I just remember like Islander games when I was a kid. Like my dad would be running around trying to get some energy going, and the fan, oh boy Sam, and I'd be like, yeah, that's my dad. Like I'd be playing mini sticks up in the suite during his games and like thinking I'm a goalie, like because like I love being a goalie because like he'd take me in the room and the goalies would. He played with what's the guy's name that signed that $15 million contract with the Islanders? The goalie.
Rick DiPietro?
Yeah, DiPietro. He'd always have a new set of pads. And my dad would always take me in the room, and I just think it's the coolest thing ever. So I always wanted to be a goalie, and my dad would take me out back. This was when we were living in New York, and we had like a little like hockey setup or whatever. He'd take me out back, and he'd shoot on me, and he'd shoot like pucks at me, and he'd fire them like as hard as he could. And I'm like, I don't want to be a goalie anymore. I'm done. He's like, yeah, good. But yeah, those are some early memories. You know, it was pretty. I got to live in Czech Republic when he played over there and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's priceless, those memories.
Yeah.
Just being in a pro dressing room that young, playing with DiPietro's pads.
Yeah. He sat next to John Tavares, so like I would always tell, like we'd be watching Leafs games with the boys. I'd be like, yeah, my dad sat next to JT. And they'd be like, shut up, man. Like,
they'd be like, they boo him now. They don't like him in New York.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick, though. That's unreal.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then having that experience. And now having teammates of yourself that, you know, are going to go on to the NHL, yourself going on to the NHL. Like, it's just a cool network of people.
Yeah,
just
for sure.
Great.
Yeah, it's cool. The hockey just brings people together. It's unreal.
What's some knowledge you like to pass down to, like, you know, well, obviously these are just all goalies, so maybe not them, but when you see your brothers and you see people that are looking up to you in Pictou, what's like, I guess, advice that you like to give them?
Yeah, just like teams and people just want good people. Like, you know, like they don't want, like you don't win with, I guess, shitheads on your team. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just find if you're being a good person in the community and you're being a good teammate and you're coachable, like that's stuff that I like to see in kids and stuff. Like when I coach kids, you know, I don't really like to have time with the kids who are being annoying and stuff. So like I was kind of a kid who was always pretty dialed in. I would do anything my coaches would tell me, and that's kind of how I like to kind of present myself. So yeah, like to these kids here at these camps, just be a good person at the rink, away from the rink, and things will work out for you. I find the hockey gods pay people that are good people. So yeah.
Who taught you that lesson though?
My dad,
yeah,
definitely. If I was being I remember a couple times, me and my buddy Lucas Canning, he played in the Quebec League. We would be a little goofy growing up, and my dad would scream at us. It'd be pretty hard. And, yeah. So.
Yeah, that's a good dad.
Yeah.
What's the name of the cup for the OHL?
The J. Robertson
J.
Cup,
Robertson
yeah.
Cup. When's it coming to Pictou, or has it already come?
It hasn't came yet. I'm hoping to get it like late July or early August. So
Okay, so what are you going to do with it?
yeah, probably throw like a party or something with my family, and then who knows, we'll take it somewhere.
How many
Just-
days?
I think just probably one. I don't know. Being out here, I could have it for a week and no one would even know. But yeah, I want to like have it and then like bring like a bunch of buddies and stuff that I played with growing up to like a big party or something like that, so like they could kind of experience it, like, you know, guys I played with in Pee Wee and Bantam and Midget. So yeah, I want to do something like that for sure.
Do you guys have a big backyard at your house?
We have a cottage with a huge backyard and like a ocean kind of view, so I'm thinking like a party there would be pretty cool. So
You're gonna
yeah.
have to like rent a tent or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's gonna be. Everyone's gonna show. I might show up. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
come-
huge.
come if you
I
want,
don't
yeah.
care if I'm invited. I'm coming.
It'll be fun. Yeah.
That's gonna be sick.
Yeah.
No, but those. I've been to a couple Mem Cup parties and they're a blast.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like, when was the last time? What was the name of the cup?
The J. Robertson Cup.
When was the J. Robertson Cup in Nova Scotia?
Probably, I don't even know.
Are you making history again?
There's got to be someone along the lines that is from Nova Scotia that won it, but there's got to be one person at least. But I don't know, maybe first from Pictou County at least.
So that's history. So
Yeah.
you got the goal in Pee Wee,
Yeah,
and now you're bringing the J. Robinson Cup.
yeah.
So that's two pieces of history that you're
Yeah.
doing for Pictou County.
We won an Adam too. I don't know if that was
So
history,
3
but-
histories.
Yeah, yeah,
You got 3 histories under your belt. That's pretty sick.
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, not a lot of Pictou County kids get to experience that sort of stuff, so it's pretty special.
Dope. That's
Yeah.
wicked. What are you looking forward to about seeing your brother for this afternoon's game? What do you want to see from him?
I haven't watched him in a while, but
He's nervous. I can tell.
is he?
Yeah.
Maybe I have.
He was at meal hall. He's sweating.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just want to see him work hard, maybe play physical a little bit. But yeah, hopefully he gets one for me. But yeah, he's a good player. You know, he should have a big year next year in Bantam. Then who knows what he'll do? Hopefully he's in the OHL with my other brother when he gets old enough. So yeah.
Wicked. And then actually, how much time are we at? 36. Okay, good. So what's the plan for the rest of the summer from now until, I guess, are you going back to St. Louis camp?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just work hard, you know, put on some size, get a little faster, and then go back to camp there and see what happens. You know, I'm a 20-year-old next year if I'm back in the OHL. So yeah, just go to camp like I'm trying to play pro hockey and see what happens. So yeah.
That's good. What's the difference you think from the Q and the OHL? A lot of people watching have their own opinion, but it would be interesting to hear it from you, like a player.
Yeah, you know, in the Quebec League, I find that there's like always like super teams, but then like the bottom 5 teams like aren't that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like in the OHL, like every team's pretty good. Like every team can beat anybody. Like it's a lot. The skill levels, like it's a lot closer. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So like, if you're going in playing like the 18th place team, like they can still win. Like
There's
they
no
still
night
have,
off.
yeah, they still have good players. Like, and in the Q, like I find you can trade those first round picks and you can trade 16-year-olds. So like at the draft, like you watch the Q draft, it takes like 3 hours because there's so many picks being traded and stuff because teams are loading up so much. In the OHL, I find it's more development. Like teams will want to take these young guys. They won't trade them away if they're going for it. They want to take these young guys and develop them into like NHL players. And yeah, they want to do that in the Quebec League, but I find there's just so many trades and stuff. So like kids will play for like 4 teams like throughout their years in the Quebec. You don't see that often in the OHL. So that's what I kind of find, you know, obviously the fighting and stuff. So it's probably a little bit
Yeah, because you
more.
can still fight in the O
Yeah, you get 3 fights.
in one game.
3 fights before you get suspended if you fight 4 times in like a season.
What's the suspension? Just a game?
1 game, and then if you fight 5 times, then it's 2 games, and it just adds up from there. But if you get like instigated upon, then it doesn't count as a fight.
So if you didn't start the fight,
Yeah.
it doesn't count as a strike.
Yeah, exactly. So like I had 3 fights through like my first like 12 games this year. So like guys would be asking me to fight. I'm like, you know, I can't. I'm not getting a suspension. So like, it kind of sucks that way. But yeah.
Yeah, that is a bummer.
Yeah, it sucks. So guys will make me look dumb. Like they'll shake their gloves, and I'm like, I got 3, man. Like, stop it. And I'll hold out my glove so everyone knows that I have 3. So
I got 3. You go to the
yeah.
fans.
So it doesn't look like I don't want to go home. So yeah.
The scouts must know you got 3 though.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's like you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many rules now.
Yeah, it's kind of scary. Like, you know, like there's a lot, like in the Quebec League, I can't believe there's no fighting. Like, I'd be a guy running around, like, because I know that no one can fight me. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot less policy and stuff like that. So, yeah.
It's a part of the game. I don't know. It's that if you can do it in the NHL, you should be able to do it in junior. Because you're gonna have to do it in the NHL if you go. So why take it away from you guys?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
And you have to protect players.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we had a guy on my team this year. His name's Sawyer Bolton. His dad's Eric Bolton from Halifax. He played in the NHL for a long time, and like, he was the toughest kid in junior hockey. Like, people were scared of him, and he's like my best buddy off the ice. So like we had great players on our team, like Cowan, Barkey, Bonk, Dickinson, like all these guys, and like they probably felt so safe on the ice with Sawyer there because he's just so tough. Like in red line, in warm up, he'd just be patrolling the red line, like just looking around. No one do anything tonight, and you know, guys could play. I could be more of a rat. Our skill guys could have more space out there. So yeah, there's still a spot in the game for fighting and stuff like that. So yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
What's the rule with chin straps and warm up in the O? Are you allowed to have it loose?
You have to put it on.
Do you?
Yeah.
Some guys don't.
Yeah, some beauties skate around with no chin strap.
Some guys let it go.
Yeah.
No, it's I don't know. You know, obviously coming from here, you don't watch the O that much, but when you get to see it on the Mem Cup and just see the style of game you guys played compared to like Drummondville, it's very different.
Yeah.
I thought it was at least.
Yeah, like Drummondville was a pretty like skilled, like quick team. Like the French, like, you know, you think of a French player, small, skilled, quick. That's kind of what they were, and like we were greasy. Like we would play hard after every whistle. There'd be a scrum. Like
was that the game plan Dale drew up, or you guys just knew your identity as a team?
That was just our
point?
identity. Like we liked watching the Panthers a lot, and that's kind of what they did. So. Yeah, we weren't really liked like by other teams, the OHL, like other like there's this guy in Kitchener, and he would always like be bashing our players in the media and like calling us goons and stuff. And so when we play Kitchener, we'd be like, all right, you're gonna get that. And we'd be so dirty, it would be crazy.
You guys are like old school.
Yeah, yeah, we were old school. We were an old school team, but it was so fun. Like
it's fun to be hated though.
Yeah,
you know? Like
it's the best.
It just gets you going.
Yeah, like. As London Knights, like every team wants to beat us so bad. Like we get every team's best every single night, no matter what. And you know, it's fun. Like teams will get so mad because we'll be beating them, frustrating them all game, and then in the third period there'll be like 5 fights. We played Kitchener one time this year, and like we played them. I played them every single year in the playoffs. Like my first year they beat us in 7 games, then last year we beat them in 5, and then this year we beat them in 4. So like. I don't like it's a pretty good rivalry, and yeah, one game we were beating them, and there was like 7 fights in the third period. It was crazy. It was like freaking goon hockey, and I had one good one, and then someone jumped Cowan, and like I think we won every single fight, and it was hilarious.
What's the hardest ring to play in the O?
Probably Kitchener.
Oh yeah,
the auditorium. It's a pretty sick rink. So
is it that they pack it every night? They got a loyal.
Yeah, they pack it every night. It's probably the second best rink in the league behind us. So
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good spot. You know, Sarnia in the playoffs. That's a pretty hostile burn. Erie's crazy. You
gotta have your passport.
Yeah, they don't like us one bit. So they sing "Sweet Caroline" after every single goal they score. That's their goal song, and no matter who they play, you know, when it goes like. They say like London sucks. No matter who they play, like they'll be playing Sarnia on a Tuesday night, and they'll be singing "Sweet Caroline" going London sucks.
No.
Yeah.
We don't have that type of stuff here.
No, it's hilarious.
That's a whole nother level of hate.
So we'll play Erie, and they'll have like this like student section in like Erie, Pennsylvania, like pretty greasy town, and like, it'll be so hostile. Like it's hilarious, but yeah, that's a tough burn, but.
Do they still have photos of like McDavid everywhere?
Oh yeah.
Still?
Oh yeah.
He's on billboards still.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's a fun league though, man. Like, it's every team like gets good fans. Like, you know, every team's so popular.
Well, you were talking about like you said some players like talking about you guys in the media. It's like I don't know if that happens in junior here. Like
No.
talking, I don't think there would be a media outlet that would publish something like that.
No, like, yeah, like, it's crazy. Like Kitchener's like their following's huge. Our following's huge. Sarnia, like it's like the bread and butter of people from these towns. Like OHL hockey, they love it, and they're pretty hard on their team, and they love when they win, and it's so fun. So yeah.
What's the travel schedule like in the O? Are you I don't like Ontario demographic or geographically? I don't know.
It's unreal. Like we're like pretty much like 2 hours away from like everywhere. Like from like 8 teams. Like Guelph's like an hour 30, Brantford's like an hour 30, Kitchener's an hour 30, Sarnia is like 45 minutes.
Oh wow.
Flint's 2 hours, Saginaw's 2.5 hours. Then you get those ones like the Sioux. That's like 6 hours, but we only play there twice. And then Ottawa, we play there once. We'll go like Ottawa, Kingston, Peterborough. That's like 5 hours. So it's not bad at all. Like it's unreal. So like you get more time to work out. You get more time to practice. It's sick.
What's the setup like in London in the dressing room? You guys have like a gym and stuff in the rink?
Yeah, we got a gym. We got a nice room there. So yeah, it's great. You know?
Oh yeah.
Like we got like these. Like there's a lot of history in that room, so it hasn't been updated in a while. So we got these like old like metal weights, like the old school
The
kind.
rusted
like,
ones?
You're picking them up, and you're like, yeah, Mitch Marner did curls with these. Yeah, you're like on the floor after a game. And you're like, yeah, Patty Kane sweated on this floor before too. Yeah.
That's awesome. You think with the alumni group they'd donate some money back, get some new weights, but I guess maybe that's how they like it. Old school with the rust in there.
Yeah, you know, it put some hair in the chest for sure.
It's keeping the heritage alive. The sweat's getting passed on to the new players.
Yeah.
Maybe it's giving you a superpower.
Yeah, that's
you
it.
know?
Yeah.
You get a little Patty Kane backhand from the sweat.
I don't know about that. But yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
No, man, that's great. That's unreal. I always love, too, when you go away for junior hockey and you get to come home and you have all these stories about the year, especially a year like you had. I bet everyone around these rinks are just asking you what happened, how was the year, tell me about this, tell me about that. And like I said, the year you just had, you must just have a bunch of stuff to say to them.
Yeah,
it's great.
So many stories and stuff. It's unreal, you know. It's pretty legendary that I got to play in London, so yeah, it's unreal.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. From now until I know you get back, you said you're going to be training, you're going to be doing everything, but any vacation, or is it just hockey?
We actually went to Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic. 9 guys on my team after the season, so that was pretty fun. You know, it was pretty nice just to like drop everything and just go there and just have fun with the boys. So yeah, that was unreal. That was a trip to remember for sure. But yeah, now time to dial in. You know, I just got back from St. Louis there, so I feel like my summer's officially starting for like training. So yeah, I'm gonna work my tail off here and try to do everything I can to be a better player. So yeah.
Did you see Petal in the airport? He flew home yesterday too.
No, I didn't see him, but I was texting him a little bit. We might hang out tonight or something like that.
Oh yeah,
so.
We're gonna skate this week. He's got the ice here. We're gonna skate.
Yeah, he's a beauty. You know, he's a good guy. So.
No, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
We were at him on the podcast last year, and one day we just came out. We were just like setting cameras up, and he was out here with someone else just skating, and I was like, Columbus, like, is that who is Petal? And I just went over to the bench. I was like, hey man, you want to come on the pod? And then, he's a good guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he always skates out here, so I'm pumped to get out with him.
Yeah.
It'll be good. Who do you skate with up in Pictou?
We actually got a pretty good group. Like, now my dad runs skates, so, like, you know, there's a bunch of guys that are, like, kind of younger that are going to the Q and stuff. So, like, Logan Crosby, who plays in the Mooseheads, and, like, Corey McGilvery, who plays on Acadie Bathurst, and like my brother. Then there's a bunch, Owen Conrad, who actually he's at the U18 camp for Hockey Canada. So like a ton of kids like that. So I'm like the oldest guy, but it's pretty cool that like they kind of look up to me, and I can be the hardest worker, so that kind of push the pace a little bit. And then I'll go up to the city every now and then and skate with like the pro guys and stuff.
Skate with Sid in them?
No, I haven't yet, but I'm here and I might get out for a couple. So
right, it's always that. It's always a hearsay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I would be a little too nervous.
Apparently, it's someone told me it's like you get a text in the morning, So what did someone say? Yeah, you get like a text in the morning of the time and the date and the rink, and then you just go.
I don't know about those. Maybe the other pro guys. I don't know. I'd be a little too nervous passing to those guys and put everyone in the skates. But
yeah, they're just people.
Yeah.
You'll be all right. You can handle a pass from Sid.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good group. Then I got a good trainer that actually he trained like a bunch of NHL players and stuff out west. His name's Brad McNamara.
Okay.
And then he moved back home a couple years ago, and he's been training me for the last 2-3 years. So yeah, he's really good. You know his stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty grateful to have that stuff in Pictou County. So yeah, it's pretty good for sure.
Jeff and I were at the Pictou County Wellness Center 2 days ago, whatever, and so they have ice in the small one, and then they took the ice out of the big one. And Jeff and I walk in. There's probably like 20 kids in there, all doing push-ups, chin-ups, crunches, and you're just like, man, it's Thursday at 1 o'clock, and you got these kids just like working out, and you're just like, that's Pictou.
Yeah, that's all my dad and Brad. Like they kind of started a little program. We got like a gym under the stadium in the.
Oh, that's where they were. Okay, so because they were all coming out. Okay, so that's where.
Yeah, so they made that gym. So it's actually pretty cool. Like I never worked out until I was in like going into midget.
Oh yeah.
Well, like a little bit. Like I didn't really. Like I was like a little kid. Like I didn't really like think of working out. So I started working out when I was a midget. But like these kids, like Ewan, my little brother, has been working out since he was like 12 or I don't know.
There was 12-year-olds out there the other day. They were young.
Yeah, maybe even younger than that, like 10, like lifting weights and running and stuff like that. And I didn't have that, so that's pretty cool. Like I remember playing against Halifax and like going to tournaments in like Toronto and stuff, and you play against these kids and they're so strong. And I was just like, how the hell are you guys this strong, this young? And now Pictou County has that, so it's pretty cool. So yeah.
100%. What was the moment where you're like, oh, I got to start working out? Like you like lost the draw and you almost broke your wrist. Like what was the moment you're like, oh, I got to get stronger?
Yeah, we went like my first checking tournament was in Toronto, and I was always a pretty like greasy kid. Like I'd like to play hard and stuff, and I threw a couple big hits, and I was looking at the bench like being cocky, kind of giving them like the muscle, and I got smoked. Like full smoked, and I was like what? My dad's like, yeah, if you can give it, you better be able to take it. I was like, that won't happen again. He's like, you better start working out. And I'm like, yeah, I probably should. But I was so small growing up. Like
you're not small anymore. You look like
like I was tiny. Like that's kind of like what everybody kind of remembered me as, like in Pee Wee and stuff. I was tiny. My first year at Bantam, I wasn't even 100 pounds. Like I was like 95 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I think I was 89 pounds when I measured myself in the Monktonian.
Did you eat a lot, or you just had like a high metabolism?
I was just tiny. Like I was just I was like such a little kid. Then like my second year Bantam, I was still pretty tiny. Then midget too, I grew a little bit, but then that COVID year, like I said, I got a lot bigger, and I'm a pretty strong kid now. Like like that's just all like working out and stuff. I always said to myself when I was so small, like in Pee Wee and Bantam, I said, when I get bigger, like I'm going to be the strongest kid and the toughest kid on the ice, just because like I kind of learned how to play it so small.
Yeah.
So like now I'm bigger, and it's like kind of easier for me to play like hard and stuff. So yeah.
When you go to like that St. Louis camp, are you going okay? Because like it's not the best of the best, but the kids that are going to be in the NHL are at that camp.
Yeah.
So do you compare yourself to everyone else and go, okay, this is what I got to do to maybe get around this guy a little quicker? I gotta, do you take mental notes and come home and work on these things?
Yeah, for sure. Like I kind of know like I'm not gonna make it as like a skill guy, like as a point guy. So I gotta play so hard. I gotta be so strong, and be able to like hit and be able to play below the dots and be able to stand in front of the net and do stuff like that, block shots. So like I find just like when I go to those camps, I gotta be the hardest working guy. I gotta be buzzing on back checks. I gotta have a good stick. I gotta finish my checks and stuff like that, because that's what's gonna make me a player. That there's a lot of like Europeans in St. Louis as prospects. So like we'd play 5-on-5. And I'd be really good in the 5-on-5. Like I'd be buzzing around. Then we'd do like 4-on-4, 3-on-3.
Space, yeah.
These kids are buzzing around. I'm just trying not to get beat. Just making nice plays when I can. But yeah, it's a pretty, hockey's changing a lot. But I think it's going back to, you look at the Florida Panthers. You look at the guys they had. I like to say I'm like a Ryan Lomberg. You know who that is? He's not a big guy. He hits. He fights. He plays hard. He's a good teammate. I kind of want to be like Ryan Lomberg 2.0. You know, that's a guy that I look up to a ton. I don't know him or anything, but I love the way that guy plays. I love how that guy made the NHL. You know, he hit and fight in the AHL, and I don't think I'm big enough to start fighting in the AHL, but eventually I want to try to get myself to a point where I can do that stuff. So yeah,
it's good to have a role model.
Yeah,
that Florida Edmonton series was arguably some of the best hockey I've ever watched.
Yeah,
there was just never a mistake. No guys ever turned the puck over, and if they did, they dumped it. Like, it was just
that's kind of why I think Florida was good in the start of that series, because they were just killing Edmonton. They'd try to put pucks through the middle, and Florida would just kill all those opportunities, and Florida was just chipping in deep and just being nail guns in the forecheck.
There's an Edmonton fan behind us, so just be careful.
Oh, sorry. Next year.
But yeah, it was just great to go home after the meltdown and watch that series. It was just elitism at its finest. It's just such good hockey players.
Yeah, it's crazy. The Stanley Cup Finals every year is pretty nuts. So yeah, you look at teams like that, even Vegas last year, like they had guys that I like to say I play like that, get on the forecheck. They buzz around, they get pucks deep, they get to the front of the net. So yeah,
it was the elite. And then you got to play at the highest level in CHL hockey.
Yeah,
I know you got kicked out, which sucked, but still, like, you got to play. You were there. You're at the table.
Yeah, you know, the Mem Cup was crazy. You know, it was so, like, we had such a good team, like that Saginaw, and then we beat Saginaw in the regular season to come first. We beat them in the playoffs, and we beat them in the round robin. And then, like, it's just one more game we had to beat them. You know, we had so much nerves and stuff. Like, they really had nothing, a lot to lose, but we beat them so many times. They're just like, one time they got to beat us. So yeah, that was pretty heartbreaking. And I got kicked out there. That sucked, obviously. That was terrible.
I don't want to make you go relive it, but like, what did you do in the room? Like, did you just like take your gear?
I didn't even know what to think. Like, I just sat there and I was like I knew we had such a good team where, like, I knew we could come back.
Yeah.
And we did come back. Then we lost with like 10 seconds left, and it was just. That was terrible. Like, that was just like the worst feeling in the world. I felt so bad, you know, like I'd do anything for the boys. I'd do anything for the team. I just felt like I let them down a little bit, but they obviously didn't think that. Like, they had my back for sure, but that was terrible. But whatever, like, you know, it happens. You learn from it, and I won't do it again. So
well, it's just, you got to learn. You got to find a silver lining in everything. Like, it's unfortunate, but as long as you learn from it and you keep pushing, keep going.
Yeah,
you'll be fine.
For sure.
At the end of the day, you care.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
You care.
Yeah, you know, I had that suspension there in the playoffs too, which it just didn't feel like anything was really that fair and stuff.
The pussy?
Yeah.
Obviously, like, everyone has their opinion on it. Like, you know, we don't have to share what you think about it. Everyone has their own opinion. It is what it is. But, like, what did you learn from it?
Just that the game's changing.
Yeah.
And I guess you can't say that stuff anymore, you know, like, that really sucked. Like, 5 games was a lot for that, you know. But, yeah, I guess the game's changing. But the worst, I'll say a funny story. The worst part about that is, so I get back. I served my suspension in the OHL finals. I don't play a game there. So I play my first game against Drummondville in the Mem Cup, and I'm at the bench, and they're French, right? So some freaking French kid goes, "Sim, you're a pussy." I'm like, what? It's like, come on. I'm like, it's like, it was brutal. Man. I'm like, are you guys serious? Like, I get it.
You're like, I want to call. I can't say anything. I just.
That was so fun. I just started laughing. I'm like, that's
all you can do. It's like, you're just like, I can't say anything. I don't know what to say anymore.
Yeah. So the boys, like, man, everybody I see, like, I'm in Halifax and I'm seeing guys that I played hockey with. They're like, what's up, pussy? I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, man. It's you know, I'm not gonna get into it too much, but that's not hockey. That's life now.
Yeah, I guess.
You know, it's not hockey culture. That's life culture, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So you just got caught up in the wrong thing.
I guess so. Yeah, it's pretty unlucky, but whatever. Yeah.
Good thing is that you got a long hockey career ahead of you. You know, 5 games. Yeah, it was an important 5 games, but hey, now you got tons of more hockey to look forward to.
Yeah,
and you're gonna have the time of your life doing it.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna be in the NHL. and then we're gonna come see you in St. Louis, and then we're gonna go Stanley Cup party in your backyard. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Last piece of I know we already got some advice from you from kids around here, but more specifically from small towns, not even Canada, America, anywhere, just that small town kid that's trying to go where you're going. What's your piece for that kid that's in his bedroom trying to make that jump to play pro hockey?
Yeah, you know, being from a small town, you don't see a lot of kids that are older than you or younger than you, like, you know, move on. So you just always got to think, like, there's so much more players out there. There's so much players working hard out there, and you just got to be like, you just got to think, like, I wonder what these kids in Toronto are doing. That's what I kind of thought. Like, I go to tournaments and stuff, so I'd be the hardest working player in practice as a kid, but I'd just be like, am I being the hardest working player in the world? And I'd just start working harder and harder. I'd almost too much. Like, when I was 17 years old, going into my 18 year, I worked so hard that summer to become a good player, and I kind of burnt myself out a little bit, and I had that hip problem when I was 18, so I had to get surgery. But yeah, like, you just gotta work extra hard to be a player from a small town, because there's so much players doing so much more out there. So yeah.
That's why those camps are good. Like, when we go up to the Meltdown and you have those Nova Scotia kids go up there and they see kids from other, because, you know, when you're from Nova Scotia and you're the best, you're like, oh, I'm the best everywhere. But then you go there and it's like, oh, okay.
You gotta be humble for sure. Like everyone would say, like, oh, like, as a kid, oh, you're really good, you're gonna go here. I was like, I don't know. There's a lot better players out there somewhere. So I just gotta adjust to that and just work 10 times harder. So yeah.
Stuff. All right, Simmer, you're the man. I appreciate you coming on the pod. It was good stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Appreciate
and
it.
Best of luck next year.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
All right, everyone listening, thank you very much for tuning in. This is the High Button Podcast, if you don't know by now. Signing out from Antigonish, Nova Scotia. We are out. Peace.